Let's see now the key-value stores. Key-value stores have a simple data model. It consists of a mapping between the key and value. You can think of them as a large persistent maps or hash tables. And the values that we have can be lists, they can be hashes. Usually such stores don't have particular preference what is the value, so we have a lot of flexibility. Their APIs tend to be simple and they tend to be very easy to use. Because of their simple data model, they can also scale very well. On the other hand, because of the simplicity of the data model may be too simple for most applications, and you may want to look into some of the alternatives, perhaps the columnar or the document or perhaps even the graph database. There is a set of systems that are quite popular in this area. You can see them here. And in general, you would be using key-value stores for simple data models and when the scalability is essential. Let's see some typical use cases. The common thing for all of them is the data model is simple. And one of the very common choices is to have a JSON for the value. And you could imagine a couple of typical uses for such systems. Storing session data of web applications is a very popular use case. Instead of storing the session data on the web server, we will externalize it and store it into the key-value store. What we achieve by doing a design like this is that the state of the user interaction is not tied to the web server anymore. And that means that the subsequent user request can be served by any of the web servers that will then reach to the key-value store to retrieve the state. And this is one of the very common ways to increase the scalability of web applications. Another use case is to store user preferences and profiles. Usually they have a fairly simple information, and key-value store could be perfectly adequate for something like that. Dealing with data with shopping carts is another popular example. You can imagine that the key can be some user ID, and then the value is the serialized content of the shopping cart. When you are thinking about key-value stores, you may find that different architecture of NoSQL store could be good enough solution, adding you additional advantages of dealing with more complex data model. When you are facing a dilemma which store to use, you could use some performance or scalability tests and see if a different architecture could actually handle your load. If yes, great, you will be able to deal with more powerful data store. If not, you may actually decide to choose key-value store only for particular parts of your application, those that require true scalability that will be supported by a key-value architecture.